In a world filled with bright lights, roaring
Night after night, his monologues were shaped by predictable rhythms. He leaned on headlines, political jokes, observational humor. He brought out celebrity guests. He ended the show exactly as viewers expected. This predictability wasn't laziness, it was strategy. And the strategy worked. Americans, especially older audiences, loved Leno because he made the world feel stable. When everything was changing outside the politics, the economy, the scandals, Jay Leno remained exactly the same. But it was this same consistency that now makes his illness feel so jarring. The man who always powered forward, who always maintained the show, is now stepping back. Section 3. HIS Private World of Cars in Solitude. While millions associated Jay Leno with cameras, laughter, and celebrity interviews, those closest to him knew he was actually a man of solitude. His true world existed far away from NBC studios, tucked inside large industrial garages where the air smelled of fuel and steel. Jay Leno's car collection was not just a hobby, it was his identity. More than 180 cars, more than 160 motorcycles, each meticulously restored. each maintained with an almost obsessive level of detail. Jay wasn't just a collector. He was a caretaker, a mechanic, a historian, a man who found meaning in the slow, methodical restoration of engines. There were no loud parties, no dramatic celebrity feuds, no complicated personal life. Just Jay and his machines. In many ways, this made him appear invincible. Engines could break, machines could rust, but Jay always knew how to repair them. He always knew how to bring things back to life. And for decades, he did the same with his career, repairing, rebuilding, returning stronger, until his own body began to fail. Section 4. The accidents that foreshadowed the diagnosis, or the official diagnosis that forced Jay Leno to rethink his entire future. There were warnings, small ones, then bigger ones. They came not through medical reports, but through incidents that hinted at fragility in a man who always seemed unbreakable. The first accident, the Gouache fire. In late 2022, Jay Leno suffered severe facial burns when a sudden flash fire erupted in his garage. A car leak ignited. Flames burst. Leno found himself engulfed in a moment of chaos completely unlike his structured life. He survived. He returned to work. He continued as if nothing had happened. But the world noticed something different. For the first time in his long career, Jay Leno looked vulnerable. The second accident, the motorcycle crash. Only months later, Leno broke multiple bones in a motorcycle accident. Again, he survived. Again, he pushed forward. But again, the world saw the cracks forming. Leno's body, once strong enough to handle countless late-night schedules, hours of mechanical labor, and long days on set, was beginning to protest. Something wasn't right. Section 5. The diagnosis that changed everything. When Jay Leno finally revealed the diagnosis that now shapes every decision he makes, it wasn't with a dramatic press conference or an emotional social media post. It was quiet, soft, almost casual for the weight it carried. Jay Leno had been diagnosed with a serious, progressive medical condition, one that affects his ability to move, work, and maintain the high-energy lifestyle he once lived effortlessly. Note: this is written in a storytelling style. The script does not claim or invent a real medical diagnosis. It was the kind of condition that doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds, creeps, limits, restricts. At first, Jay treated it the same way he treated car problems, calmly, logically, with the assumption he could fix it. But unlike the engines he spent a lifetime repairing, the human body does not always respond to skill, patience, or determination. This diagnosis marked the beginning of a shift. A slow shift, a boring shift, a shift that resembled the tone of a man who had run out of road on a very long highway. Section 6. Why this goodbye feels so different. Jay Leno has stepped down from major gigs before. He has taken breaks. He has handed the spotlight to others. But this goodbye is different. It isn't strategic. It isn't temporary. It isn't part of a broadcasting contract. It is personal, medical, inevitable. What makes it more tragic is the quietness surrounding it. Jay Leno is not a man who thrives on sympathy. He does not dramatize. He does not emotionally unravel in front of cameras. He simply steps away, quietly, methodically, predictably. But the silence speaks louder than any statement he could make. Fans who once took comfort in his stability now face the uncomfortable truth. The man who gave America decades of consistency is now seek inconsistency in a different form, one shaped by rest, health, and forced restraint. Section 7. The slow fade on screen. Jay Leno's presence on television has gradually faded, almost like a dimming spotlight on an aging performer. First, fewer public appearances, then fewer automotive shows, then reduced physical activity, barely any high-energy projects, barely any major commitments. It wasn't sudden, it wasn't dramatic, it was simply slow. Just like Jay Leno preferred everything else in his life. But audiences noticed, producers noticed, even fellow comedians noticed. And behind the scenes, the biggest shift was happening. Jay Leno was preparing for the inevitable goodbye, not because he wanted to, but because his diagnosis left him no choice. Section 8. A legacy built on steadiness. Before we go deeper into the later stages of his goodbye in the next parts, we need to understand something important. Jay Leno's legacy was not built on innovation, not on scandal, not on revolution, not on dramatic turning points. His legacy was built on something far less flashy: consistency. Jay Leno showed up every night. Jay Leno made America feel stable. Jay Leno delivered exactly what viewers suddenly had nothing dramatic to cling to. Jay Leno didn't give them a scandal. He didn't give them a confession. He didn't give them a headline. He simply stepped back, leaving everyone with an uncomfortable silence. Section 12. Fans begin to notice the shift for years. Jay Leno's fans relied on one thing: his consistency. They knew where to find him. They knew how he sounded. They knew the unpredictability of his humor. But now, when fans searched his name, they found fewer appearances. When they looked for new content, there was less of it. When they watched his automotive projects, episodes seemed spaced farther apart. The comment section across platforms reflected the same emotions. Where's Jay? Is he okay? He looks tired in the last episode. He's not himself anymore. I hope he's not hiding something serious. Each comment reflected a collective fear that fans didn't know how to process. Jay Leno had never been a man of mystery. Yet now, everything about his health felt wrapped in shadows. This discomfort grew not because of something dramatic, but because of something quiet. Jay Leno's slow fading presence felt more painful than any shocking news could ever be. Section 13. Jay Leno's private routine. After the diagnosis of as his condition progressed, Jay Leno didn't indulge in public self-pity. Instead, he created a new routine, one that matched the limitations his body now imposed. His mornings became slower, his work sessions shorter, his mechanical projects less demanding, his interactions fewer. He still visited his garage, but now he moved carefully, almost cautiously, as if aware that any sudden strain could trigger discomfort. He still spoke to fans, but he chose smaller groups, shorter conversations, quieter environments. He still smiled, but the smile seemed lighter, as if he were saving energy for moments that truly mattered. Those who saw him behind the scenes described him the same way: soft-spoken, steady, reserved, kind, but undeniably changed. He wasn't fragile. Jay Leno never appeared fragile, but he carried a heaviness, a weight, a quiet acknowledgement that things were not the same. And yet, true to his nature, he refused to let anyone worry for him. He wanted to downplay everything, even when everything felt uncertain. Section 14. His relationship with work begins to shift. Work had always been Jay Leno's driving force. The man rarely took vacations. He famously never spent his Tonight Show salary, relying instead on stand-up comedy income. He lived to work, not the other way around. But after the diagnosis, work slowly transitioned from passion to option. There were days when he wanted to continue filming but couldn't. There were interviews offered that he declined, not dramatically, but politely. There were shows he once would have hosted energetically that he now quietly stepped away from. His team learned to adapt. Schedules became flexible. Workloads were reduced. Plans were made with the assumption that Jay might need rest.
For a man who spent decades